Jesse. Today we're going to talk about an interesting method for remembering and using new vocabulary. Have you ever tried using tools like scissors, pens, and paper to help you learn?
No, Mr. White. How does that work?
It's quite simple and fun. Let's imagine you're learning new words. The first step is to write these words down on a piece of paper. For example, words like innovate, develop, and obsolete.
Okay, I write them down. What's next?
After you write them, you think of synonyms or related words and write those next to the original words. This helps your brain make connections.
So, if I write obsolete, I might write antiquated next to it?
Exactly, Jesse. Now, here comes the fun part with the scissors. You cut these words out, turning them into individual cards.
And then what do I do with the cards?
You spread them out and try to match the synonyms with each other. It's like making a game out of it. If you have the word obsolete and antiquated, you would match them because they mean the same thing.
That sounds like a good way to test myself. What if I forget what the words mean?
That's a great question. You can write the definitions on the back of each card. You can look at the definition and try to remember the word. It's a good test to see if you really know your vocabulary.
Could I also sort the words into categories?
Absolutely. You can categorize words by topic, like technology or education, or even by their forms, such as nouns, adjectives, or verbs. This method helps you organize information in your brain, making it easier to retrieve later.
How does this help with speaking or writing?
Good thinking. Remembering the words isn't enough, you have to use them. One way to practice is to create stories using these words. You can write a short story or even talk about a scenario using as many new words as you can.
Could you give me an example, Mr. White?
Sure. Let's say you take the words modify, obsolete, and intuitive. You might create a story about someone who finds an old, obsolete computer and tries to modify it to make it useful again, discovering that despite its age, it's surprisingly intuitive to use.
I like that idea. It makes using the words more interesting than just memorizing them.
Exactly. It's all about making learning engaging and effective. Another tip is to avoid translating words back to your native language. It's better to think directly in English, which is what high-level students do.
That sounds challenging but fun.
It is a challenge, Jesse, but it's also very rewarding. Plus, you can make it a social activity. Maybe you and your friends can exchange stories using new words, or even quiz each other with the cards.
I think I'd like to try this method. It seems like it would make vocabulary a lot less boring.
I'm glad to hear that.
Mr. White, I always forget words when I need them the most. Even if I studied them, they just vanish when I'm speaking. Why does that happen?
It's quite common, Jesse. Often, the words we memorize don't make it to our active vocabulary. Active vocabulary includes the words you use naturally, without thinking. The words you know but rarely use are part of your passive vocabulary.
So, how do I make those words part of my active vocabulary?
First, you need to start using the words in real contexts. It's like how young children learn to speak. They listen to the people around them and mimic them, not just repeating words, but whole sentences.
You mean I should just repeat what others say?
Exactly, but it's more about practice and exposure. You can watch TV shows, listen to podcasts, and repeat the sentences you hear. It's important to say them out loud. This practice helps you understand how these words fit naturally into conversations.
What if I can't find the shows I like on TV because of restrictions?
You can use tools like a VPN to access shows from other countries. This way, you won't miss out on your favorite content just because of where you are. And watching these shows can help you with your language skills.
Got it. But what about learning words separately? I do that a lot with flashcards.
Learning words in isolation can be less effective. Try to learn phrases instead. For instance, if you're learning the word priority, learn to use it in sentences like "it's my top priority" or "I made it my priority."
That makes sense. So, I should focus on phrases rather than just words?
Yes, learning phrases helps you understand the context and use of words, making it easier to remember and use them in conversation. It also builds a more natural flow when you speak.
What if I find it boring to just study phrases?
Then connect emotionally with what you're learning. Engage with content that interests you, whether it's books, shows, or even YouTube videos. When learning is fun, your brain is more likely to retain information.
Like getting into a story or character's life using the new words.
Precisely. And if you can explain what you've learned to someone else, that's even better. Teaching is a great way to deepen your understanding and recall.
I've heard that before. Talking about what you've learned can really help fix it in your mind.
Indeed. Another tip is to avoid trying to memorize too much at once. Quality over quantity. Focus on learning words well, rather than learning many words poorly.
So, I shouldn't rush it?
Correct. Be patient and persistent. Language learning is a slow process, and it's important to be kind to yourself. Set realistic goals and celebrate small victories along the way.
What about practicing speaking? I get nervous thinking I might not say things correctly.
The best way to overcome this is to practice in a supportive environment. Maybe join a speaking club or practice with friends. The key is to stay relaxed and enjoy the process.
That sounds less intimidating. I'll try to find a club, or maybe start one with my friends.
That's a great idea, Jesse. Remember, the goal is to use the language, not just memorize it. The more you use it, the more natural it will become. Keep exploring and using new words in your conversations.
Thanks. Mr. White, I feel less worried about forgetting words now. I just need to use them more and enjoy learning.
Exactly, Jesse. Enjoy the journey of learning. It's about growing and transforming through the process. Not just about knowing more words. Keep at it, and you'll see improvement over time.
I hope you enjoyed this video. Don't forget to subscribe so you never miss out on future English learning content. Stay positive, keep practicing, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.